Welcome to this Eriksholm update video. Eriksholm is always trying to bring new academic disciplines or new scientific methods to bear on trying to understand hearing loss and its consequences. My next guest is Jeppe Christensen. He's a principal scientist at Eriksholm and he's trying to do exactly that. So welcome, Jeppe. Please tell us about your work with experience sampling and passive sensing.
Yeah. I mean, experience sampling is essentially about recording thoughts and emotions from people in their everyday life.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little bit, an alternative of doing automatic testing in a laboratory. Here we actually ask people in their daily life how they're feeling. It's originally a method from psychiatric and psychology research, but then has been adapted to audiological research. Simply by asking people to reflect on their listening experiences.
Mm-hmm.
The passive sensing part is then, while experience sampling is about having active involvement from the participants,
mm-hmm.
passive sensing is essentially all the data we can record from the real world that is not involving the user. So it could be, for example, heart rate monitored, unobtrusively.
Yeah. So then what are the classic audiology problems that you're trying to tackle with some of these new approaches?
Yeah, I mean, we know that, fitting a hearing aid using the pure tone audiogram is good for a lot of purposes, but it might not actually translate that well to real life where hearing is applied. And we believe that, bringing in some data from the real world, experiences, data about what sound environments people are in and all this stuff, can actually inform the fitting in a better way in the future.
So what kind of limitations do you see with these kinds of new methods?
Of course, there's a lot because we are working with observational data,
Yeah.
so we cannot really control what the participants are doing.
Yeah.
That's why we need a lot of contextual data with the passive sensing. So we cannot really understand mechanisms and causal effects so well. But we're learning more and more, and we are also, every year, we're stress testing our methodology. We're sending 25 students to New York as a part of this demand audio explore program.
Right.
And here we're actually recording both their heart rate, their sound environments, can see whether when they're together, do they actually experience the same things or not. So we're kind of like making it more robust, this methodology.
So that means walking the streets of New York is stress testing something.
You get all sound experiences you can imagine, for sure.
Fantastic. So let's say we have a fantastic future, the stars align. How do you see your work entering either industry or being used to support hearing care professionals or people with a hearing loss?
Yeah, I mean, there's many aspects to it that might have potential. Some of them are a bit more, explorative, because we are learning more and more about, you can say, the bodily reactions to being in a listening environment in everyday life.
Mm-hmm.
So we're learning, maybe we can find biomarkers of when people are experiencing listening difficulty, having communication breakdowns, or actually changing their listening engagement in certain situations. So, for example, we have a nice setup with DTU Compute from the Technical University of Denmark, where we're looking at how people are synchronizing, whether that's actually a marker for how they are engaged in a listening situation.
So synchronizing in what sense?
So, for example, synchronizing rhythms. It could be heart rate synchronizing. It could be other things that are synchronizing, because that could be a marker of whether they are actually engaged in a situation or not, especially in the social interactions.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, on a more practical level, a more applied level, I think that one thing is we could maybe lower the barrier for entry for some people wanting to actually have a hearing aid, but maybe, showing up to a clinical test at a clinic, it might be too cumbersome. So having remote options, for example, tracking how hearing is doing in everyday life with a remote system, having smartphones and wearable sensors, might actually help them, see the value in having a hearing aid in the future.
Yeah.
That could be one approach.
Very good. Well, thank you very much, Jeppe.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much for your attention. As always, if there's a topic that you would like to hear more about, something you've seen on our website, for instance, please reach out to us. We'll be very happy to try and accommodate. And with that, hopefully see you later this year.